Let's take a look at Trump's net approval rating on the economy. Look at where he is today. Way down there, minus 32 points on the net approval rating. At the beginning of term two, remember, Trump got a term two because voters trusted him more on the economy. He was at +6. That's a nearly 40-point drop in a little bit more than a year's time. And look at where he was at term one at this point. He was at +2 points. Remember, the economy was a strength for him in term one at this point. It was a strength for him throughout his entire term one. But in term number two, it has become absolutely an anchor that is dragging him down to a historic degree.
All right, well, Trump's approval ratings are again at historic lows, but someone out there is actually happy about his war in Iran. Guess who? It's the oil companies. Fox News reported this week that with gas prices skyrocketing in response to Trump's war in Iran, oil companies are celebrating because they just had their biggest payday in history. So Fox News hosts are backing Trump's actions in the Strait of Hormuz as being good for the American economy, specifically for American oil and gas exports. But just like Trump's tariffs were bringing in money somewhere, the American people are the ones actually paying these higher prices. We're not reaping any of the benefits of these policies. It's not trickling down the way that they keep saying it's gonna. So case in point, Sean Hannity said this. He said, it's in America's frankly unique interest if the strait was closed, stating that it's actually a net plus for the US because the world has now to come to America for all of their energy needs as we are a net exporter. And Jesse Waters kind of echoed that sentiment. He said, the US oil market is open for business and it is booming. Big oil just had its biggest payday in history. And the United States just hit an all-time high all week, exporting 5 million barrels a day. Over 100 tankers are lining up off the Gulf of America to get their frantic little hands on our sweet, sweet crude. And it's not just crude, we're shipping everything from gas, jet fuel, diesel at record levels. What is actually going on with everything? Why is Trump's approval rating on the economy so bad if the economy itself is actually doing well? Well, Moody's Analytics chief economist Mark Zandi said this in a social media post. He said the economic damage from the war with Iran is mounting. Just the surge in gasoline prices has cost Americans an estimated additional $21.3 billion since the start of the war over 6 weeks ago. And then Zandi said in another post, the financial pain caused by the war and its fallout on consumer spending and the economy is set to intensify. So Reuters reported that whatever perks Trump has bestowed upon the American people, no tax on tips and overtime pay, et cetera, the increased gas prices have just canceled them out. So at the end of the day, we're losing. And on top of that, the war is projected to cost the US $1 trillion or more, leading to a global recession. We're already facing that as a real threat, along with famine and in various parts of the world due to the lack of access to fertilizer, and all of that is about to come to a head very soon. And Americans tend to have very short-term thinking when it comes to things like this, like the US blockading the Strait of Hormuz and inflicting global pain. And this could have some very real long-term effects. So according to the Century Foundation, war imposes specific long-term costs on the government that far surpass the cost of military operations that are, at least in theory, tallied by the Pentagon and shared with Congress. The Brown University Cost of War Project has produced the definitive estimates of the cost of the global war on terror, with a special focus on the conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan, and has come up with a total bill of $8 trillion. Just over a quarter of that figure is money directly spent on military operations, but a bigger portion of the cost is the cost of long-term care for veterans. Sharon, we are losing so hard with this presidency. He told us we were gonna win so hard, and we're not seeing it. Are you surprised that his approval ratings are where they are?
Yeah, I don't know why there would be anybody approving of him at this point. I don't know why, as low as they are, it stuns me that they're not, 0 point something. Because who could really approve of this guy? What has he gotten right? Okay, what has he gotten right? We can't drive because the gas prices are too high. We can't afford rent. We can't take care of ourselves when we're sick. We can't feed our children. Oh, yeah, we're at war and soldiers are dying for this. He can't articulate why. He said it was over, but it's not over. It goes on and on and on. People serve this country because they love this country. And he once said he couldn't understand, why anyone would die for this. Under him, I agree. I can't understand why anyone could take an order from him, even with the insulation of having superiors between themselves and him. The guy is disgusting. And this whole thing is fraudulent. So yeah, I am stunned that one or two people is all that's left approving of the guy who even argues with the Pope.
Yeah, and I do want to add also that with Trump's low approval rating, even his own voters have been turning on him. So a recent poll found that 73% of voters blame Trump for the rising cost of living. That's 73%. And it's a good thing that they're blaming Trump for this because they're able to see directly. It's not just like economic fluctuations. It's a direct result of Trump and his administration and their policies. That is why everything is so much more expensive now than it used to be. That's why all of our money is going elsewhere and we don't have a say in how and where we spend our money anymore. And of that 73%, by the way, that includes 57% of Republican voters. Also, for the first time since 2010, and this feels big to me, more Americans for the first time since 2010 believe that Democrats would handle the economy better than Republicans, which does not bode well for Republicans in the upcoming midterms. So, and we're also seeing a phenomenon across the country where people seem to be taking matters into their own hands, kind of like what we were talking about in the previous story. People feel helpless and they want a way to kind of take back some of the power that they feel they don't have access to anymore. So according to the US warehouse fire tracker, we are currently up to 47 warehouse fires across the country, which is 2 more than since I checked yesterday. So, that's what's happening across the country. That's what we're dealing with. And they're celebrating. And on Fox News, they're trying to sell it to the American people, or at least to the Fox News audience, that this is actually a good thing. The economy is doing great. The oil and gas companies are celebrating, they're thriving, they're selling all their stuff as much as they can, and they're leaving out the fact that the affordability crisis is still very much a crisis, and it is a worsening crisis at that.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.